saluto a tutti.
What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC. Victory Monday is here and upon us. Whew, that one was a little closer than we anticipated.
Well, when you're playing the last place team with a man down, why would it take a 92nd minute banger?
Oh, man, I tell you. We'll definitely talk about this game because there's still many frustrations about the offensive output and whatnot in this game. But in the end, it had to be 3 points. I kept saying that on the watch along, like a draw will feel like a loss for this team. And luckily, they found a way to fight through. All right, so again, it is what it is. But we knew it was going to be a much different game. Talked about it in the preview. Said do not expect what went down in the Coppa Italia with that, H side or N side that they played. Okay, so it is what it is. And
the M side, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and they parked it. They parked it, intensely, and it's tough to crack teams like that. But we're gonna tackle that game. We're gonna tackle the news. We're gonna tackle everything in the aftermath because options have become available to Max Allegri, and there was something I've been shouting for quite some time, and I literally said in the preview show, it'll be a moment. It'll be a moment where we see a shift from Max before trying something that two-man pivot and everything. We will talk about that as well. And, of course, the personnel and the players' performances and everything, all right? Take a quick second, say what's up to everybody in the live chat. Drop a like as you join in, everybody, okay? We got Michael Razzo, Ciao, Juventini, and HC. Nothing better than a victory Monday. Absolutely. We got Tal coming in here. 3 points. Inter is scared. Great way to go into the second half of the season. Absolutely. RB Comps, Allegri has brought back a never say die attitude into the team. Matt Merda is rattled. Muser 99. Sev, let's go. Pino Alafine and Apex Classic. This has become a staple of our show this season. Now loading. Let's go. Hopefully. All right. We got L'Arbitro Nick in the bleachers today. Love seeing Nick join us for the lives. All right. And we got our friend from South Africa. All right. We live, baby, live. Let's go. And Alex P. Ciao, tutti. Ciao, Alex. Good to see you in here, brother. Now, let's get to it real quick. We'll talk about some news headlines that popped up this morning. Obviously, we have Weston McKennie talking about renewal. Juventus looking at the renewal of the player. We'll get to that later on in the show. Okay, you've got Moise Kean potentially still heading out on a loan. We've got Ranocchia that we're waiting for the finalization of a move to Palermo in Serie B. And we have an injury status update, okay, on some of our players. And Chiesa and Cambiaso should be available for Thursday's Coppa Italia game, all right? As far as some of the other guys, it is Rabiot that has overload on the right thigh, apparently, and will be rested in that Coppa Italia match. And like we said, Chiesa, Cambiaso expected to be recovered there. Keane and DeCilio continue their programs. Alexandro has recovered. So that is your status updates. We have a birthday today, and that goes out to Manuel Locatelli. So tanti auguri out to Locatelli. And Scott, a little bit of struggles there, connection.
Oh, here we go. Am I already glitching today? Monday mornings.
It's going a little fuzzy, doing a little breakup, but we should be okay. Let's take a look here. We'll get into this game, okay? We're not going to waste any time getting the highlights and everything. If you have to pop out, you can always pop back in. Quick reminder for everybody tuning into the podcast on your audio outlets, get over to YouTube and subscribe, and especially do it right now because later this week, we'll start giving details on how we give away these 3 retro replica kits, all right? So make sure you head over and subscribe. Now, we've got to get into this, okay? The lineup going into this one was Szczesny, Gatti, Bremer, Danilo. We got Weah in for Cambiaso, McKennie, Caviglia in for Locatelli, Rabiot, Kostic, and then Yildiz and Vlahovic up top. Talked about this in pregame. No real issues with that lineup given the circumstances and what was going to happen. Absolutely no issues.
Lineup was more than enough to get the job done.
Exactly. Lineup was more than enough to get the job done. Now, we get to the highlights. And holy Christ, we needed L'Arbitro Nick right out of the gate here, all right? With
what are we talking about?
Keenan Yildiz. So, he will start off with his overview of Guida. And he says, overall thoughts on Guida. This ended up being a very difficult game for Guida. And he said he had lots of decisions to make and on many occasions decided to make them only when he was forced to. Errors were definitely there, and he was fortunate to keep the match under control and not let it get too spicy between the players. Literally, within the first minute and a half, 2 minutes, Yildiz taken down by Maggiore in the penalty area. This, for me, was a clear-cut PK. The first one,
I'll get to my comment. You keep going.
yeah, this one for me, easily. I don't give a shit if it's 10 seconds into the game.
Exactly.
It's clipped his back leg as he's got position run. So L'Arbitro Nick's his first minute. Yildiz is taken down Maggiore in the penalty area. Yildiz clearly has position over Maggiore, and this is the most important consideration. There was no side-to-side jockeying for the ball. Yildiz clearly has Maggiore beat, and the point of contact was Maggiore's leg with Yildiz's left leg and then right leg. At the point of contact, we even see again. Yildiz is very clear in front and in control of the ball. This should have been a penalty, and I'm not really sure what VAR was doing here either. Guida and VAR did not have the balls to make any calls today. All right, so
that's exactly what my comment was going to be. Guida was chicken shit to make a call in the first 30 seconds. He was not going to be the he didn't want to be in the headline for that game.
Yeah.
Oh, giving a penalty to Juventus in 30 seconds. No. That's a penalty shot. You got to give it.
Yeah. This one, this was an easy PK call. Like, he was beat clean. He doesn't have position. He clips the trailing leg. Like, I don't know what else you need to make this call. It's pathetic. That's garbage.
And then Yildiz dove on the second one.
The second one, so this one, minutes after, we don't even break down extensively because it's not a PK. Like, there's nothing there.
But then Guida comes up to him, gives him the one. You dove once, you dove twice. Like, oh my God.
And that I was pissed off about because I said, look, the first one was clear cut. You guys didn't even take a look. I don't know why. The second one, I can understand, but there was a little more side-to-side jostling. And to give Yildiz a little bit credit, instead of going there, like, the arm of the defender was across the chest and holding Kit too. So it's like, it wasn't like, okay, you can't be doing this, you're diving, whatever. It's like, no, like, there was jostling, and the first one was brutal, though. Nonetheless, we keep going because we don't need that help, all right? We're better than that. So, 4 minutes, headed clearance, falls to Sambia at the back post there, and luckily he puts an absolute muffin that tech's all over, easy to control there, okay? Sambia, Jesus. Can't put any heat on those things. I'm okay with that. We get not a lot in the first half, to be honest, you guys. A lot of possession from Juventus, hovering around the 70% mark, but not enough opportunities. We get a good opportunity from McKennie on a Yildiz cross in. Yildiz looked very lively. He did. He had the defensive guys on strings back there and drew a couple yellow cards, which obviously came in clutch moving on into the second half. But he puts a nice cross in. McKennie gets ahead to it, forces a good stop from Costil. Outside of that, 38 minute, we're actually the ones conceding. And you've got a long ball, okay, heading to behind again, cutting Danilo and Kostic. And we've seen that a few times now. They're getting beat on these long balls, okay, but it's okay. They recovered fine. Kostic got back into defensive position.
Okay, that's my point. Everyone's cooking Kostic on. I'm not a big Kostic guy. I'm a Juventus guy this year. All right, I'm putting the agendas aside. He recovered on that one. I don't know why people are giving him hell for that was a long ball that got over the whole defensive line.
Yeah,
The guy didn't really recover it make a play until he was at the end line. So
I'm on Kostic for absolutely everything else in that performance because he was dog shit.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll talk about Kostic later, okay? But
Okay.
yeah, on that one, he ends up recovering. Ball comes inside again,
Yes.
tapped inside. Danilo goes there. This is where it's crazy. If you break this play down and you watch when that long ball takes place, you see Caviglia, okay? You see a couple other players close to him. Caviglia sprint him back. Yep. I have no idea why when Caviglia comes back, and he was getting blown up pretty good for stepping in to try and help and double team with Danilo, and he might not have wanted to do that. I can't understand why, number one, Danilo squared up and didn't at least force him back towards Kostic. He kind of squared him up to where he gave him right or left. It's like, no, just start forcing him one way and give yourself a little bit less work. Caviglia comes in, and now he's got two trailers. But the problem is, from where the ball started that was launched forward until the time Caviglia gets back to the top of the area, I have no idea why two other players that were only maybe 8 to 10 yards away from Caviglia, it took them that long to not even get into the screen, not even get into the frame before that shot gets taken.
You're talking about Juventus players.
Yeah, that's wild to me. If he's sprinting back there, you're 8 to 10 yards away from me. By the time he gets in there to double team with Danilo, his support should be there with him. And there was nobody. Bremer steps up when the ball goes inside to Maggiore. He forces him to make a good shot, and he did. That was a hell of a shot. Tech's not stopping that. Nobody's stopping that.
Nobody's stopping that.
Way out, just inside the back post is what it is. A breakdown there, but the support needs to come back quicker there. And it's hard for me to really just rip on Caviglia on that one. Maybe, like I said, if Danilo had chosen the side, but nonetheless, we find ourselves 1-0 down after,
of course,
literally I was saying we have all this possession and we're not scoring. We're not really being too dangerous, and we need to. Outside of the opening 15 minutes, I didn't think we were strong enough, but we do have another instance 4 minutes after this goal when we're 1-0 down, and this was Gatti on something that a lot of people were looking at on social media saying should have been a red card. So
people are talking about.
Number one, I think probably a yellow would have done and sufficed, because you do still have to be in control of your body. What did you think? Nothing?
That's a yellow card.
Yeah, it's a yellow. It's a yellow.
He got a yellow, didn't he?
And he gets a yellow, okay?
Yeah.
But there's considerations and a lot saying red card on that because of the studs being high and everything. So
they weren't.
I'm going to say, I'll take a look at it, and we'll get L'Arbitro Nick here, but no. He says Gatti takes a big touch, goes in for a slide tackle to try and recover. After first knocking the ball away, he then makes contact with the Salernitana player. There, again, 4 considerations, okay? And actually, you know what? I don't think he got the yellow on that play. He got it on something else, didn't he?
Someone help us out with that.
Yeah, I just can't recall 100%. I can't recall 100%, but here we go. Here are the 4 considerations. Red card. Studs. Yes. Okay, but it may have grazed the leg rather than hit the player straight on. When you look at the replay, it did kind of hit straight on, but there's a bigger consideration for me. To the point of contact, it is above the ankle. The contact point, above the ankle on the back trailing leg. 3, speed and force. Gatti was moving. He was moving. Okay?
He was slowing down because he was pulling out of the... Okay, sorry, keep going.
He sprinted at 10 yards before sliding into there. Number 4, this was the biggest one for me. Extended leg, no. Gatti, as he clears the ball after hitting the ball, you could see his leg bend as he's pulling back but still moving forward through. If he kept that leg extended, he would have blown that guy up and it would have been ugly, okay? But L'Arbitro Nick says made contact with the ball. and thus diminishing the force and taking away one consideration for a red. Could the amount of speed he used going in override the extended leg consideration? Absolutely yes. However, that is for the referee to decide who was right there and feels the heat of the challenge. We are very close to a red card here, and while I think a yellow is a supportable call, if Guida showed Gatti red, it would have been hard to make an argument against it too. What do you think?
You make a massive argument against it. For me, the Salernitana player's leg went into his studs more than his studs went into the player's leg, if that makes sense. He's already cleared the ball and he's pulling out of it. If his foot is pulling out of it, if his foot's going that way and he makes contact with another player, whose foot is going into who?
It's a 50-50 ball though, and both players have the right to go in for it. So you can't say because and again, this ball first thing, it really doesn't matter in the rules,
Not
everybody.
Anymore, really.
Because you have to be in control. And
Alberto back in the day, Berto? Hey, bro, remember back in the day we could clear a guy out if I got the ball first. And blow a guy up. That was awesome. I miss those days.
I played with this skinny Dutch kid, okay? And this guy, he was our center back. He was unbelievable. He was so unassuming. Show up, wears glasses. Like, you'd think, I'm like, who is this guy? He's our center back. Wait for him. He was so good at making sure he always popped that ball and just blow guys up. He's an absolute beauty. But Gatti got the ball first, as Alberto says, in the modern game that no longer matters. Players have a responsibility now for each other's safety. If a player wants to go studs up at high speed into a challenge, they must be able to control their body so they do not make contact and potentially injure an opponent. I got the ball is an argument from the past.
See, right there. For me, Gatti was doing everything he could in terms of player safety for his opponent. He got the ball and he was pulling out of the tackle after he won the ball.
Yeah. For me, I mean, by rule, looking at it now, I could see probably a yellow, but I was fine with nothing out of it too because he was backing out of it too, and I think the guy made a meal out of it trying to, obviously, get him out. Nonetheless, we get to halftime. We're 1-0 down. Jesus. You got to turn it around. This was crazy. So, you've been on a shocker if Max changes you right at the 45th minute, okay?
That doesn't happen often.
No. And you got two changes. Kostic out for Yildiz Jr. in, okay? And I said it on the show. I said it last post-match podcast. I didn't like Yildiz's performance in the Coppa Italia game. And I don't want to hear about he's only played 5 minutes before. He's only played 10 minutes before. Any guy that gets into the lineup right now, it's all hands on deck. These guys all have to be ready and have to bring something, period. It didn't matter for Yildiz that he barely got any minutes before. He hit the ground running. Nonje
banging goals.
Looks pretty spry. Hasn't had fuck all before. You just have to make the most of it, okay? So Yildiz Jr., I was like, let's go. Let's go at it again.
Sure.
You got your Coppa Italia game. We need you now today. And I was pleasantly surprised because it was much, much better from Yildiz Jr. Rugani comes in for Gatti. And this one I liked for a couple reasons. What's interesting is when you hear Max talk about in the presser after, he says, well, I made the Yildiz one because of a technical choice. The Gatti one was because he was on a yellow and he didn't want to risk that. But it ended up working much better because my initial thought was not just really the yellow, but getting Danilo on the right side. And something I've been talking about for a while since he's come back, he looks shaky to me
we'll get to his post-game presser too,
He doesn't look the same. I will say massive I have massive amounts of respect for Danilo. Okay? His first year with Juventus, how brutal it was to get to the point where he is the capitano and, was one of our most consistent players through a couple seasons. I have tremendous respect. I have even more respect for him because he didn't bullshit any single one of us, you guys. He came out and said, I need to take responsibility for my faults.
Yep.
And I have not been in the form I was previous to my injury since I've come back. Thankfully, I have great teammates to help me through. How hard is it to just be like, how many players would actually do that and take that account? I see guys lie to the cameras left, right, and center, come up with every excuse in the book. That's a leader being a leader and not making excuses. We can all see it. We don't need the lies. Massive amounts of respect for Danilo, but this guy on the right side, it's night and day. It's night and day. And we'll get to that more further on in the show. So 2 changes. Yildiz Jr. for Kostic had to happen. Jesus Christ. Rugani in for Gatti. Danilo shifts to the right. In the 48th minute, what a move, you guys. Yildiz, Rabiot starts taking control in the second half. Rabiot had a much better second half. And
here's the thing. That opens up because let me just fix this. That opens up because Yildiz Jr. is now switching inside outside. He's not stuck on the track like Kostic is out there on the left. All that's coming because Yildiz's coming in there and he's rattling the cage of those right wing backs.
Yeah. You get to this Kostic thing too. I mean, we'll break it down later, but it's just it needs more. In this game, we needed much more. What did we say? If Salernitana plays us the same way, if they play us the same way, 4-2-3-1, I said we're cooking. 3-5-2, they mirror us. What did I say? Problems. Problems arise when teams line up like that against Juventus. We have a tough time breaking them down. You need the creativity. You need the movement. I thought for the majority of the first half, we were moving the ball way too slowly. When they overload one side, you have to ping that ball to the other side and then start taking that space and get at it. Move the ball quicker. We were doing a good job in the 15, 20 minutes, and then it just kind of slowed right down, and it was almost like, okay, we have no more ideas. We're going to slow it down and see what we can do, but it's got to be quick. This was a good move. Yildiz to Rabiot as he makes a run beyond the defense. A cross in for McKennie, who's all alone, and man,
oh my God,
just couldn't direct this thing into the goal there. I thought for sure, and I called McKennie to bag one in this game. But man, that one hurt. That one hurt.
That hurt a lot.
Yeah.
That hurt a lot.
Nonetheless, we keep going here. 51st minute. Vlahovic goes down in the penalty area, okay? This one on a cross, and we know the play. The defender comes in. It looks like Vlahovic is going to challenge, and it's straight to the body. And I thought, see, this is what I don't like about how they officiate games, because for me it's a PK, it's a foul, because the defender makes no play. And I understand that you're thinking, okay, the majority think you can't get to that ball, it's not playable. I didn't agree with L'Arbitro Nick on this one, because this defender doesn't play the ball whatsoever. He takes one look at Vlahovic and drives right into his hips. That for me is brutal. And what were your thoughts on this one?
I'm looking forward to see what Nick says on this one, because for me, I'm like, again, the ref was chicken shit, didn't want to make a call, but I don't know what he's looking right at it. The referee's looking right at it. Now, if he's saying, okay, that ball's way out of play, if that happens in midfield, if Vlahovic is at the center line, that ball goes over the top, and he gets hip checked like that, that's a foul.
Exactly.
He gets a free kick.
And this is what drives me nuts, is because you can't change a ruling, but this happens so often, depending on whether it happens in midfield or if it happens in the game there. And that's what drives me nuts, right? And we got to say what's up. It looks like he made her in here. Omer.
Yeah.
Hello. All right. We're just at this non-call that came for Vlahovic in the area on an aerial there. So Anthony and I are thinking that's a foul. It's a foul. There's no play for the ball. Where are you at with that one?
Oh, 100% penalty. I mean, if Gatti does that in our area, I'd be like, you idiot, what are they doing? That's a clear penalty.
Yeah, and looking at the live chat, I mean, Matt said there's zero attempt to play the ball. Zerdesh saying 100% pen. RB saying this is more of a pen than the first one. I think Yildiz was clear cut, but this is a pen as well. Nonetheless.
Can't wait to see what Nick says.
So let me throw Nick here. And we went at it on this one. So he says, on the cross, Vlahovic gets a body check from the Salernitana defender as the ball comes in.
Back.
On this occasion, the players are battling for position to get to the ball.
No,
it wasn't even a battle.
No, they weren't.
Yeah, Vlahovic was clear in position, which he has the right to, and started to jump up. He did jump up. The ball ends up not being within playing distance of Vlahovic as he receives contact from the defender. This is up to interpretation, but Vlahovic not jumping for the header. He did jump, though. He did jump. Because he was in the air when the contact hit him.
I have to watch it again.
So right there, I'm like, he did jump. Or having a real chance to play the ball. And the contact being side to side. That might be a little bit of a stretch too.
For me, it's like the NFL rule. I'm sorry, I bring it back to NFL. If the defender can see the guy's name on the back, it's in the back. Or see his back.
Yeah.
That defender could see his number on the back of his jersey.
I'm seeing it a little bit more on the back end there, okay?
Yes,
but
come on,
again,
Nick. You're slipping.
Yeah, side to side, which is generally acceptable when battling for space on a cross. It's not a battle, man.
Nick,
That's a clear, I don't have position. I'm going right into the player. I think no penalty is supportable. The defender is being sneaky here, but for this to be a penalty, he has to very obviously hit Vlahovic hard.
The definition of what happened.
Not just throw his body in front to try and get... He did not throw the body in front. Nick, I think you got to take a look at that one, my friend. I disagree.
Yeah, Nick, you got to watch it again, bud.
It's a clear foul. I'm sorry.
Listen, we love Nick. Nick has been...
Nick's a beauty.
A great staple post-game. He's a beauty. Nick is a beauty.
The explanations are fantastic, but I disagree.
We highly
here.
disagree today.
I disagree on this one. That's a pen for me. And
if you were both referees at the match...
If people want to argue with, the ball is unplayable, then you need to change the rulings, because right now there's not a ruling that becomes an indirect kick inside the area. But if they're not happy, if they're going to be to the point where they don't call a foul, that because you don't want that to be a PK, that's bullshit for me. And this is what I got into it with Nick yesterday on the chat. I said, it's garbage. To say, I'm not going to call that because maybe the ball's unplayable, it shouldn't have no bearing because it's a foul. It's a foul. It's in the area by rules. That's PK. If you want to say, the ball's not playable, so now I'm not going to call a foul, then they need to change the ruling to make it an indirect kick. But you can't not punish a foul because you don't think it should be a PK in there. It's a foul or it's not. And this one for me, the defender is beat to position. He thinks Vlahovic is going to get to that header, and he goes straight into his hip to see him off balance while he's in the air.
He gave him like a Shakira hip check with that one, just boom. That's what it was. It's a foul.
It's
and
a
there's
foul.
Your old moment from Tony trying to be hit. No, I mean, come on. That's a lot of words for just, he body checked him. He didn't even look at the ball. He looked straight at Vlahovic, took him down with his hip, and that's it. There was no attempt to play. There was no if he jumped or if he didn't jump. That's a clear push inside the area. If that happens in the middle of the pitch, that's a foul.
Yeah, and we said the same thing. And Nick's taking it, but it's all love. It's all love, brother. Now, we got to go to the 52nd minute, which is Rabiot driving the ball forward, and now we get Maggiore to bite on a challenge. Second yellow. See you later. Red card. Now it's time to get the ball rolling and equalize quickly and take control of this game, take the lead. 59th minute, we get another change from Massimiliano Allegri. And this is Milik coming in for Caviglia, which was interesting. So we're going to keep Vlahovic out, bring on Milik. I actually liked it. And we saw the two-man pivot. Okay, two-man pivot kicking in, and I was all for it. Let's go. Let's see what we can do. 64th minute, Milik to Weah. Number one, great control by Weah as like Milik just kind of pops this thing to him as he's running by. He still managed to control it, puts a low, beautiful cross. And I saw somebody I was talking to somebody in the Vancouver fan club group chat that said, for Vlahovic to make that pass across Dayling, he flubbed a shot. Okay, he flubbed it. He was taking a stab at that. He's on his right foot. But if you're going to flub a shot, this is how it has to happen for you. He ends up getting the assist. It falls to the back post. Illing Jr.'s there. Boom. There you go. There's your 1-1. We got plenty of time. Let's go. Well,
does Kostic put that away?
No,
in yesterday's form, I don't know. Like, I actually don't know with how he was playing yesterday. And Omer and I spent the preview show giving him some props for the work he's doing, and then he puts up an absolute stinker, okay? So my only negative rating was Kostic yesterday, but more on that as we go. 1-1, 66 minute. Again, Salernitana right after 1-1 starts coming back at us, and we're losing our stability, like just kind of like too much space.
Gotta give them props.
Trailing runs. Vlahovic takes a big laces one from distance, but Tech's all over that. Saves it, parries it out to the side. Wasn't worried about it. 69th minute. Here we have a dangerous cross from Candreva to the back post, but Tech read it very, very well and got out right to the point, meeting Simi there for it and gave him nothing. And from there on, Juve, again, a lot of control after those two instances from Salernitana, but we're like, where are the opportunities? Where are the real chances? 76th minute, Rabiot flips one into Vlahovic. Vlahovic's hold-up play yesterday was superb, okay? Mm-hmm. He makes a nice little touch pass into Illing Jr. He tries to curl it back post. Just couldn't get it inside the uprights there. That's okay. 90th minute, Danilo. This step on the sideline was so clean and huge, okay? Huge win there because Salernitana goes on the run there with Iquemezi is who I believe it was in that instance. Kill clock, do whatever, maybe try and get something generated out of it, but he shuts it right down. All our bodies are forward. We're sitting pretty. He puts a cross in there, and Vlahovic reads it perfectly, gets position again, and when you're not cleaned out at the hips, there you go, and he buries it short side. The celebration was massive. Get me the hell out of this game, okay? Rainy, torrential downpour, 2-1. I don't care. Get me out. That was the winner. That's what we needed. Holy hell, boys. Holy hell.
Now, we talked about this. We talked about this in the group chat. It can be argued that Danilo and Dusan weren't their best yesterday, right? Or maybe they were quiet, right? They were quiet for most of the game. That's when you need, in the 92nd minute or 91st minute, that shows you who the leaders of this team are. When two guys like that, when Danilo makes that play without slide tackling, 99% of defenders will slide tackle that ball and it goes out for a throw-in. He stayed on his feet and he kept control of it. For him to put that ball into Dusan, that's when you need your leaders to step up, is in go time, and that never happened last year. Last year, that is 0 or 1 point game. This year, the leaders are stepping up to make that a 2-1 win.
Honestly, I have no problem with Vlahovic's game yesterday. Other than a few decisions that were strange in shooting, turning and just firing when he had layoffs that could have stepped into it facing goal, I had no problem with his game. I thought his attitude was on point. I thought his hold-up play was strong. I didn't have any problems with it. Like I said, just a couple moments where he was deciding to shoot in strange scenarios and whatnot. But
that's what number 9s do.
It was a solid clutch game-winning goal and moment for Vlahovic, and that's what we need. We need him to make the most of the opportunities whenever they come. As far as fans being frustrated with the game overall, what were your guys' thoughts on the game overall? What was your feeling about this game overall out of Juventus's performance?
I guess I'll start because Omer's busy over there. So
I'm looking for an interesting stat on Vlahovic. Okay,
I'll start then. When it was 1-1, I naively thought that that was going to finish 1-1 because that's what it would have happened last year. Like I still have the mindset of last year, of the mentality that the team had, that they aren't going to pull out wins. But this is a completely different team than last season. This
Yeah.
team is grinding out wins, grinding out points, and I'm not surprised that we won 2-1, but I'm surprised at my own attitude of, this is just most exactly going to. And even in our group chat, I was saying it, I think Danny was saying it, Lucci was saying it. So it's like everyone just kind of had that feeling, but I think we need to grow out of that to say this team has the capability of pulling out wins. Okay, that's the 20th place team. That's the last place team down a man. We should win that game. But just the feeling of the team pulling that through that's gonna, and I think Lou said this, that's gonna catapult us hopefully to the Scudetto this season, pulling out games like that.
Yeah. And Tony Trim talking about in there the video of Mana and Giuntoli going nuts after the goal. Brilliant celebration. Like, nice. Everybody's feeling it. There's this feeling around this team that is on point this year, and it seems like a family, and which has always kind of been that sense and that feeling around Juventus historically. Mm-hmm. Looks like we're getting back to it, but your thoughts on the performance, Omer? Were you frustrated with it? Were you okay, and was it what you expected?
The first half was certainly disappointing, but the second half, I think that the substitutions were all on point and exactly what the game needed, and maybe that's what won us the game. And Dusan seriously improved. He looks physically better than he did, I don't know, 3 months ago. And an interesting stat, he's the guy who scored most headers in Serie A this season. 3, all of them decisive. One was tying Bologna and winning against Frosinone. And yesterday, no one has scored 3 headers. So, yeah, he's doing it in the air. I don't know. I felt like the win was there. Was there for the taking, and Juve, it looks like they wanted it really bad, and they got it. And I didn't feel like it's going to end in a draw. Mm-hmm. Like either we can see the fluke goal, like the semi chance or whatever, and we are going to score.
I got into this with somebody on Instagram off one of the posts, and they were just really going at Juve for the performance. I said, look, low man block, 5 across the back. Juve notoriously struggles with it. We do need a little bit of a shift. It's something I've said the 2-man pivot can help with, because you get an extra body forward. You stabilize both sides with those pivots. They can also push forward, and you got to send the house. Max did that. He literally did that. Illing Jr. coming in. Like, any changes you could have made. Another striker in there in Milik that also helps in build-up. He did everything he could.
They weren't even good. They were on time. He did all the substitutions when they were needed.
The other thing is, the best sides in the world struggle when teams park the bus. The best teams in the world struggle when teams park the bus. It is not easy. And when you also factor in, McKennie had a header that was stopped, a good save from Costil. He missed a clear-cut header. Probably just outside the 6. You have 2 PKs I think we should have had for sure. Like, those are 2 PKs for me. This had everything for this team to just say, you know what? It's not our day. We'll take the 1 point and get out of here. And Anth, you're muted. But it didn't.
Sorry, yeah, and they didn't do that, right?
They didn't. And that was the brilliant side of it. So for me, I get the frustrations and whatnot, but there's a lot to move forward with, and now we'll tackle it in the aftermath of this one. We got to get into man of the match. I had a tough time with this one because I thought everybody showed good and bad. The only thing I could say for certain is sure as hell wasn't Kostic. But who did you pick for your man of the match? And I'm going to start with Omer there.
Okay, so man of the match, definitely not Kostic. I think the defense had a tough time with Simi. He overpowered them on a couple of occasions. So no one from the defense. I think Wea was good. Wea was electric. And McKennie was everywhere. But I think Rabiot overall. I think I'll give it to Rabiot.
Okay.
Mainly in the absence of Locatelli, he had a lot on his playing, because Cavilla, I didn't think he was good. I thought he had a tough time with the wet pitch and everything, and maybe the atmosphere on his former stadium. So Rabiot had a lot to do, and yeah, I'll give it to him.
Okay. And
I have here in my game notes, man of the match question mark.
yeah,
I
Tough one.
I don't think anybody really stood out for me as man of the match. You give it to Dusan. Okay, he scored the goal. That game for me flipped when Illing Jr. came in. So if you wanted like an impact player, someone who affected the game, maybe he didn't have as many touches. He did have a goal. But the biggest impact of the game was that one change. So you can give it to Max, right, for making the change. Max, again, made all the right changes. I would go with Illing Jr. on this one.
I was having a tough time after the watch along trying to name a man of the match for me, to be honest. I thought everybody cycled through highs and lows, pros and cons to everybody's game. In the end, I probably switched because I ended up going with Dusan just because, again, the attitude, the hold-up play was incredible, and then he ended up finding the clutch goal to win it. But I think I'm going to switch it and go with Max. And I think Max should get the man of the match because he didn't waste any damn time. And that's what I expect. This reminded me of the Max Allegri during the heydays when we were running roughshod on Serie A, and he didn't fuck around. And this reminded me of that Max. That is what we expect of Max Allegri. Know when it's time to say, boom, I'm flipping the switch. I'm changing this up. This is what we're going to do. And it worked yesterday. So I'm going to actually switch it. No discredit to Illing Jr. to Rabiot's second half, for me, was night and day to the first half. Rabiot could have been a shout in there, I think. Dusan. I see shouts for Weah making the full 90 and actually had a good showing for himself, which we needed in Cambiaso's absence. I'm looking forward to Weah having impact on this game. It was his play down the byline, that his low cross that ended up finding Illing for the first one. Yeah, there's a lot of shouts there. I'm going to go with Max Allegri, all right? Now, we get to some of these performances outside of this, and obviously this young guy thing keeps rearing its head. You got Yildiz, I think, had a good showing again yesterday. Illing Jr. coming on, having a much better showing than the Coppa Italia. Juve, the only side in Serie A with 3 goal scorers born since 2003. The only other team in the top 5 leagues is Barcelona with 4. So does Max hate the youngsters? Does Max not integrate the youngsters? Regardless, it doesn't really matter. But about these young guys, Kostic, we spent time defending him, Omer, but you know what?
No, yesterday he was awful.
He was so bad yesterday. It's not to say that he needs to be wiped off completely, but we might have to look at more time that we should have seen in the first half probably for Illing. Now it's probably more time for Illing Jr.
He will start against Frosinone this week.
Who will?
Yeah.
Kostic.
Yeah, probably, but
Skule plays on that side, right? So
I mean, if everyone is healthy, because the Schiller will be back soon, and if everyone is healthy, there's a lot of rotation on the flanks. I don't know if Kostic will get as much credit as he gets right now. And Weah shining on the right, that might push Cambiaso to the other side.
It's going to be interesting to see what Max decides with the matchup coming up right after that against Sassuolo. And we do have more rest than we do here between these matches because it's going to be Thursday and then Tuesday. So there's a little bit more rest there, but it's going to be interesting to see what Max does there. But for me, that was so bad from Kostic. The decisions, the passing, it was everything. And you know it's bad, like I said, when Max reacts at the 45th minute, okay, like halftime. That is very, very rare that you don't get even 10 minutes into the second half. He said, forget it. Good call by Max. The back line. We talked about Danilo accepting accountability and taking that. A lot of respect to him for that. Rugani getting back in there. I've been saying this. I said it after yesterday's game. Danilo has been shaky since his return. However, yesterday he showed yet again how much more comfortable he is on the right side of the field. So, for me, Rugani needs to come back into the fold, okay? We don't look as confident and as steady at the back. And I don't think it's coincidence. Get Rugani on the left, rotate between Danilo and Gatti based on what the games call. I don't want to take a ton of minutes away from Gatti in a season where he can polish up, but for the better of the overall group, I think this needs to happen. Agree or disagree?
Omer?
Yeah, I think it might be time for some rotation and reminding everyone that they need to perform, and if they have bad performances, they might be benched because there are players waiting on the side, doing great, and Rugani is maybe the staple of it. I mean, what has he done to not justify a starting spot? And yeah, maybe Gatti should sit one or two games out. He will sit one out because that was his fifth yellow, so now he's out of the next match against Sassuolo. So does McKennie, by the way. Interesting. We'll see if we'll sign this Jallo guy and see how the rotation works. But yeah, definitely should put Rugani in the mix. He seemed a lot more calm than Gatti was.
Yeah, and I wouldn't expect anything from Jallo because he's still recovering. He's just got back to full training and everything, so it's more like a move for beyond. But, Ant, your thoughts on Rugani back in there and rotating Danilo and Gatti?
Well, we went on that stretch there of clean sheets, right? That was who's at the back there? Gatti, Bremer, Rugani. Is that the three that we had at the back there through that stretch? So for me, Danilo's still the captain. He needs to play there. I'm happy with the Danilo, Bremer, Rugani start, right?
Yeah.
They seem to be the most consistent at the back. Again, it helps that Gatti's suspended for the next match. But that's against Sassuolo. So it'd be interesting what he lines up with against Frosinone.
Yeah.
Danilo was better when he moved to the right. That's when his game changed.
Now, for the defense, again, it's these decisions Max is going to have to make because this is a good season for Gatti to polish up and everything. There are errors coming, though, from Gatti as well, but there are errors from Danilo on the left side, too. So it's like maybe a pick your poison type thing, but Rugani, Bremer is pretty damn solid and locks up that very, very cleanly. You rotate those other two based on what the game calls upon. Danilo's ability to move the ball forward better and progress the ball better than anyone at the back, I don't think can be denied. However, there's something else that can help with that too, which we saw in this game, the two-man pivot that we shifted into. And I understand that the game situation where it was at, that it's easier when Salernitana is parked, but this is something we should definitely look at. And I'm going to tie it into something else. For me, this game also showed the importance that Locatelli, the birthday boy today, by the way, holds in this team when it comes to defensive stability. I think it stuck out like a sore thumb in this game.
Yeah.
Am I alone?
No. I said I thought Nicolussi Caviglia had a bad time yesterday and was the best of matches. And yeah, Locatelli was it was felt that he wasn't there. The attacks flew more easily for Salernitana, and that's like the last place team with the worst defense, down to 10 men, and they still managed to push through Juve. So yeah, if we're doing two-man pivot, Locatelli has to be there.
And not only for Luca, because Luca's naturally a two-man pivot. So we always talk about his time at Sassuolo. It was a two-man pivot. This team, for me, has been screaming out at us. It's set up for a two-man pivot. The fact that we could run it effectively with McKennie and Rabiot, and I understand, again, taking into account where the game was at that point yesterday, still, Rabiot has run a two-man pivot now with whoever the hell he's been partnered with. He's done it with Locatelli. He's done it with Zakaria. He's now done it with McKennie. It doesn't matter. And to be honest, this has nothing to do with Hans Nicolussi Caviglia because he did take some heat for his performance yesterday. I think he did absolutely fine. He showed
I
some
thought he was fine.
stretch passes that we want Locatelli to be pulling the strings on. So it has nothing to do with Cavilla. I also think a two-man pivot helps Cavilla because I think he can operate in it as well, and we get the best of him. I think it's the way to go moving forward. Max, I said it, I called it. I said if we ever see it from Max, it's going to be a moment. It's going to be a situation, whatnot. But there could be something to build upon with the talents we have. And again, we might have to wait till Chiesa, obviously he's going to get back into the mix, but I don't know if Max will ever fully shift into that, but it looks good, and Rabiot looks very strong in it as well. So Locatelli's his best in it too, so we'll see what happens, but it's another option. Max has options, and this is a good thing, everybody. It's not to knock players. It's not to put any players down. It's just the fact that we have this available to us, and it's an option, right? McKennie and Gatti missed.
Out.
What's that?
McKennie's out.
McKennie's out.
So we might see that with Miretti.
So McKennie is out for Sassuolo. Gatti is out for Sassuolo. We have Frosinone in the Coppa Italia coming up this Thursday. We're going to see what ends up happening there for lineups. It's very, very early to tell. And I'm going to be quite honest with everybody. I have some concerns with Chiesa. I think even if he's ready to go, I'm not so sure I go to him right away against Frosinone. I'd probably give him a little extra time, use him for Sassuolo, to be honest. Yildiz is doing just fine. The kid's ripping, looks good, looks dangerous. Keep it rolling with him. Vlahovic, we got to talk about Vlahovic because, you got and no Rabiot for Thursday for Frosinone. He's got an issue he's got to deal with, so he's in doubt, obviously. That'll be something we'll have to come up with. Locatelli comes back into the mix again. You're still going to be covered. We'll be able to figure this out. McKennie, Caviglia, it'll be all right. I'm not concerned so much with it sucks when Rabiot's kind of out because he does so much, but we can get by. Vlahovic, the goal. The clutch moment, the sellies, the attitude, everything. Caviglia had a free kick there, and Vlahovic quickly told him, just pick your head up, it's fine. We move after he missed the goal there. It's his goals. Opener against Udinese, he got a goal and an assist. He got the leveler against Bologna. He got the brace against Lazio. He got the goal against Inter. He got an assist on the game-winning goal against Roma. And then, of course, goal and an assist in yesterday's match. The goals he does, his contributions he does come up with. And the winner against Frosinone. Yes. The goals he does come up with and the contributions he comes up with are big. But everybody's, we're up and down on him. The problem for him, again, is the contract. Unfortunately, I hate to be this guy to say this, but the salary is what the problem is, and it remains. Unless this guy starts going like crazy to the point where he is, high 30s of goals, that salary is a problem, you guys. It's still a problem for me. It sucks to say because I like Dusan. I've wanted him to thrive. This salary, it's going to be looming there. If there's no willingness to spread it out, at least to bring it down, it's a problem still. What do you guys think? Not a problem. Don't worry about it. Keep him around.
Yeah, I think it will extend. Pretty positive about it.
You think we'll extend and he'll lower or spread it out?
Spread it out. I don't think he'll lower that, but I think it's spread it out.
Okay. If he spreads it out, I'm good.
If he even increases it. I don't give a shit. We need this guy, and I don't care. Since he came back from injury, this guy has done a complete 180, both in play and his attitude. His attitude has completely changed. I've been saying this every time I get on this guy.
I love his attitude.
His attitude
has completely changed. He is much more like a team player, never hangs his head down, picks up his teammate, double his salary for all I care. This guy needs to stay in this lineup. We can make do elsewhere. He's our number 9.
Double the salary. Pump the
I don't
brakes.
give a shit.
Pump the brakes.
We need him. Obviously not double it, but I'm okay if it stays the same. If he doesn't extend, doesn't get spread out, I'm fine with that.
I don't like the salary. If he spreads it out,
I hope it does.
I feel better.
I hope we can work something out.
But I always say you got to make the decisions later on. Okay, you got to make the decisions later on, because if the attitude does shift back to where it was, if he starts sulking, moaning about calls and all this crap again, I'm going to be pissed off again. But if he keeps doing what he's doing yesterday, even if the contributions don't come, I would have been happy with his performance overall, because I loved what he did. And his hold-up play is night and day to what we were seeing at the start of the year. So he's made significant improvements. But I will say, I feel the same way as RB Comps there. Consistency now, please. Okay? Consistency now. But
that's what we want from everyone.
He's got everything there that it takes. But right now, I think there's a decision with that salary. But we'll see what happens. Speaking of decisions and not making them too hasty, wait until end of the season. McKennie comes up for a contract extension. And I'm just going to say right now, I have absolutely no issues with a contract extension for Weston McKennie. His contract, he's going into his final year next season. If he can keep this run up for the rest of the season, why on earth would you not extend him? It's going to be a fine salary. You could still sell him if that's the end move. But if he keeps going the way he's going, I have no problems with a McKennie extension. Where do you guys stand on McKennie?
I think there's limited players on this roster right now where you would say, yeah, we're good without them. There's a lot of players that have either stepped up. Well, a lot of players have stepped up their play, and there's a lot of players that have bought in. So that's a credit. A lot of people give credit to Max, and you should. Max is the one who's been steady and unifying the locker room. But the players have also bought in. So why wouldn't you reward some of these players? Like McKennie this summer said, I'm not being sold. I'm staying. I'm going to prove to this coach and this team that I deserve to be here. And he's shown it. So why I have no problems extending McKennie.
Yeah.
Because he's shown it.
Yeah. Omer?
Yeah, I think he's kind of accepted his role, that he plays wherever he's needed, even if it's on the bench if someone new comes in. So I have no issues. Maybe it feels sometimes, just to play devil's advocate here, that you were sometimes a bit in a rush to extend someone who has done good for a short period of time. Sometimes it feels like that, but it works and it doesn't work. That's a gamble you have to take. If he's out of contract next season, you have to extend him now, even if you're going to sell him. And all in all, I like his atmosphere. The training videos, he's always dancing, he's always happy. He's bringing some sort of a fun vibe to the locker room, and it seems that everyone is into it for some reason. So I think he kind of earned it.
Yeah, these are the extensions. I mean, I think if you're going to call them early or whatever or not have a problem with, these are the kind of ones. It's going to be at a respectable salary. You're not going to get stuck later on. His value has increased this year so far. Hopefully he can keep it going throughout the second half of the season. And it continues to increase a bit. So that's the way you want to move on extensions and values of players. So again, going back to the Duchamp thing, that's where, again, the salary and the value thing and what brought him in for. Has he repaid it all already? Is he going to? So Alex P just says Duchamp for him is still far away from breaking even with what he owes us on the pitch.
Yeah, let's start Keane. How about that?
Yeah,
let's put Keane in that spot. How many of those goals he
I
bangs
think
in.
that's
but his contract is for
still
3-4
fair,
years.
you guys. I'm sorry. It's great that he's doing that. The goals are big, all this, but there was a long stretch. It just wasn't there. It's like, it's a lot of money. And when you look at this team, it's a lot of friggin' money. Is Max staying around? Are we going to
That's a
have the
big one.
same struggles with him? Are we going to start talking about him not fitting potentially again next year? And then we're stuck with the high salary that's there and everything, and then we're going to be bitching again? It's not clear cut.
Why are you worrying about next year? Settle
It's
down.
not clear cut.
Don't worry
Why I'm
about
worried
it.
about it because his salary blows up. That's why.
Let's worry about it in the summertime. We'll get there. Let's worry about this season. Stop rubbing your face. We'll be fine. We will be fine. Juntley will figure it out. Do you not have confidence in Juntley to figure it out?
Something that needs to be
It'll
resolved. Would you spend that much money? Let's say he gets 3 more, 4 more, but they're big goals the rest of the season.
Let's say the moon blows up.
You're fine paying $12 million for 11 goals.
I don't. Well, no, but he might score another 15 the rest of the season. We'll see.
Now he says no. That's what I'm saying. It's a discussion. It's a thing. It's a thing to think about here.
Yeah. It's a discussion at the end of the year.
But how long is his contract?
He's contracted till 2026 at the moment.
Great. So that's 4 years of contract. So he still has 2 years in him to prove himself. And the fee we paid, which by the way was Fiorentina's fault, not his fault. But there's still a lot of time to judge him. I mean, if he wins us a Scudetto next season, then like the Rabiot case, I mean, I have patience with Dusan. I can wait until he develops a bit more.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, I want more from him now.
Dusan is scoring 20-plus goals this season. If Dusan breaks 20, you got yourself a kit, Forza Juve, okay? Because I have he's at 7 right now.
What did we pick? I think I had him at 19 this season. Let me check the preseason predictions.
Okay. Clip that because Forza Juve, I'm telling you right now, if he breaks 20, you got yourself a kit, okay?
Oh, by the way,
20 goals or 20 goals assists?
Goals.
He has 7 goals right now, you guys. Now, anyways, storm the barn, everybody. I love when we get at it on these things here. But yes, Animesh, my record is not the best. And we got more of those kits coming out. But another bet says
I had
Animesh.
Dusan preseason at 19 goals, 23 including the Coppa Italia. I think you were the same, Bert. I think you said 18, something like that.
I thought he would be below 20. Yeah,
it was below 20. But I do have a storm the barn question to get us going while people start to
you get yours going right now, and then we'll wait for everybody to fire theirs in here. Let's go.
Well, we made it. We're halfway through the season. We did it. Congratulations, everybody. All right. Who is the first half of the season MVP? Mirko Di Natale put this on Twitter. It was in Italian, so maybe a lot of people didn't get it, but it was a good reminder for me to ask the question on here. Who is the first half of the season MVP?
I have a clear answer.
Oh, interesting. I have no idea. Yeah. So go ahead, Omer.
Bremer, 100%. The most consistent guy on the team, the pillar in the middle of a very good defense this season. The easy choice for me.
Bremer. Yeah,
Bremer seems to be the guy in the chat. We have one for Gatti.
Shout outs to Cambiaso and McKennie. Yeah, but Bremer, I mean, he's phenomenal this season. One of the best in Europe, not only.
I like Vincenzo's here. The team. I like that. Bremer or McKennie, honorable mention to Cambiaso. I can't throw Cambiaso in there because he had a lull. He had a spell in there where it wasn't that strong.
What about Max?
He really started in November. He really started peaking in November.
Can you pick Max?
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I might give it to McKennie.
Fine, that's fair.
He's there. He's there all the damn time, and it doesn't matter if he's in the center, even though I hate a center midfield with 2/3 being Rabiot and McKennie. He makes it work, and he plays a right wing back, and he's been there all year, steady and doing his job and hustling like crazy. It might be McKennie, man. It might be McKennie, but Bremer's. I think it feels maybe like I want to say McKennie just because it's such a huge improvement. And maybe that's why it stands out to me more. But obviously it's hard to go against Bremer because he's just a stud, but that's expected. Do you know what I mean? And because of it being so unexpected from McKennie is probably why I have this feeling like I should say McKennie. But yeah, I'm fine with Bremer or McKennie, and I think it would be those two. And I think there's a shout there for Adrien Rabiot.
Yeah, but we have said that he didn't live up to the expectations we had from last season. That's why I didn't have him in, because
yeah, but
it was
still
less consistent
overall
anymore. But
on
still,
this
it was
team,
great.
yeah.
And I can say the same for Locatelli. He's been good this season, more than good.
I think I've made this argument a lot of times, and I know that I'm kind of in the minority with this, but for me, you always feel it when Locatelli isn't in there. You always feel it and notice it. I know not many agree with me, but I'm telling you,
I think him and Rabiot are in the same bracket. You know, if the top one is McKennie and Bremer, then just below you can put Locatelli and Rabiot in.
Yeah, normally the MVP is if you remove them from the lineup, there is a visible change in the team. I was leaning towards McKennie until you mentioned Locatelli there. We've been so good at the back that I don't want to take anything away from Bremer, but next man up at the back, we've just seemed to figure it out on the back line. I'm still thinking McKennie. I'm still thinking like he's done his job. He's done it well. But Locatelli right there is close for me. One of those two. But I'm leaning towards
from
McKennie as well.
Though. It's like defense, it's offense. Like he's everywhere. There's games.
He's everywhere.
There's games where there's not a blade of grass he hasn't touched. Like it's just insane.
I'm missing the goals. That's what I'm missing from McKennie.
Yes.
Because he used to
Fair
score.
enough.
He used to score quite a lot, and he had chances. That's the only thing I'm missing from his game.
Yeah, I called him to get one
preseason
yesterday. Damn,
though.
he should have. He really should have.
He should have got
that's
one.
That's fair. Let's go to Storm the Barn with Jeremiah, kicking things off. Reminder, everybody, like the video. Obviously,
I have a question afterward.
Feel free to clip anything you want. Does our midfield suffer more without Rabiot or without Locatelli? So which does it suffer more without? I think it suffers equally, just differently.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Yeah, it's an equal suffering, but it's just different. Rabiot has an impact further up the pitch that we suffer with when he's not there because he does win the ball back very, very well, and we're able to sustain pressure. Locatelli, his influence is at the back end defensively. Like you just feel that and you notice it. So for me, I'm going to say equal, just different.
Yep. Fully agree.
Probably a boring answer for everybody, but it's how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Are you worried at all Roma and Mourinho might convince Dean Huijsen to force a move at the end of the season with all that special treatment they are giving him? They can try all they want. The latest reports also suggested he's going to be extending to 2028 with Juventus. I don't have any fear because I don't even think Mourinho is going to be there. And I think Mourinho's a part of what convinced him to go there for the second half, but I don't even think he's going to be there. So I'm not actually worried about this at all. I'm more worried that he just stays fit and doesn't blow his knee out on that pitch. So as long as he gets his minutes, comes back, I'm happy.
Yeah, Roma had no money. It was actually very nice from UEFA to tell them before they commit the crime that how much they can spend. So they told them they have like $1.5 million.
It's not me.
No, it's mine. Like they had $1.5 million. So that's they have financial issues, and a youngster like Huijsen should cost above what they can pay.
$1 billion. €1 billion.
Well, right now they can pay 2 million. So
there we go. Great to get him minutes. He already got 45 minutes yesterday.
Oh, it was great. I watched the match. It was great when he came on.
Oh, I did.
A really solid performance.
I have no I have no fears. There are some, and I see in the comments here, like Vincenzo, a bit nervous about Roma. I really don't see it.
I get more nervous about my gastrointestinal issues before
the other thing too we have to factor in is the finances around Roma is not like I don't think they're going to be doing, and Juve is not giving them up. Like And it's another thing too with these loans, and now Moise Kean subject to a loan potentially and keep them in Italy. Like, stop letting these teams off the fucking hook. Like, forget it. Nobody goes out of their way to do us any favors. Fuck them.
Would you wouldn't loan Keane for the rest of the season?
Oh, I would.
I'd 100% loan Keane for the rest of the season.
I wouldn't loan him in Italy if there's a different option. Fuck the Italian teams.
Oh yeah,
unless it's a team we do good business with, but like helping Milan out or whatever, like giving them a boost, like no, forget it.
You wouldn't loan him to like a mid-table club? I would.
Yeah, if he wants to go to Fiorentina, I don't really care because whatever. Like, I'm fine. He can go to Fiorentina, but helping Milan, helping like the free giveaway we gave of Rovella to Lazio should have never happened. Giving him away for nothing. Are
you still hung up on that? Teams. I totally forgot about that. Like, does that still like chap your ass that we gave away Rovella?
Gave away a prospect? Yeah, make money. You bitch about the finances all the time like I do, Ant. Why would we not want to make money?
We lost one. I don't think we really lost anything there.
So far, we scammed them because they probably overpaid the way he's performing right now.
Actually, he's playing good as of late. Now finally starting to get integrated.
Yeah, in the last 5-6 matches, it was better, yeah.
He was unreal against Inter. Unlucky not to score, but he's starting to get back to the Rovella ab Monza
where's the Rovella? I haven't seen them in a while.
Who's been the MVP from the AJC for the first half of the season? Why is it not Ant?
Well, I'll tell you something here. It's not Luca because this little prick never shows up. So he's not even in consideration. So next question.
Okay, I give it to someone. I've been preoccupied with stuff, and me and Lou used to do the news together. So Lou has been doing phenomenal work. I mean, I don't know if anyone knows how much it takes to do all the interviews and always add photos and hashtag. That takes a lot of time, and Lou has been phenomenal. I mean, he's doing everything, and that's just crazy.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an idea. I like to run the main during the games, and I sort of miss a lot during the games because I'm trying to interact with as many people as possible. I can't even imagine finding the time to add a photo. Lou adds a photo to every post, every bit of news, and finding all that. So to Omer's point, I'm going to go with Lou.
Lou's finding shit
I
don't even know about, and it's just like, where is it coming from? And it's like, are you sure? And he's like, oh yeah, I found this over here, I found this over there. It's wild. But I'm gonna just say mad props in, but honestly for me it's everybody. You guys are all the MVPs. Ant doing the match days, the games, running the games on the main, Omar news with Lou, everybody else for their appearances. And Lucci coming to us from a beach in fucking Fort Lauderdale, for Christ's sake. Like, you guys are all awesome. And just massive thanks from me. So you guys are all the MVPs.
Lou,
and the AJC Army. How in the hell are they not the MVP? You guys are the MVPs too. Beauties. Is Yildiz the biggest talent in the world? Can't think of another 18-year-old that plays with such confidence and scores goals. He looks like prime Dybala, and he only has 3 starts.
Let's settle down. He's very good. I don't watch any other teams.
What's the age limit?
I guess there really isn't one if he's 18. Like, I mean, is he the biggest talent in the world for youngsters? I think
he just means youngsters, sub 20. 20,
yeah,
20
sub
and
20, I'd say.
Yeah, there are players who's been around for a long time, so it doesn't feel like they're youngsters. But, I mean, Pedri, Musiala, I mean, all those guys, Rodrigo, are still very young. Super young. And Xavi Simons is doing phenomenal at Leipzig. I mean, there are a lot of players going around right now who are great.
How much time do you have? Jesus.
Not enough, but clearly more than you.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Yildiz, for me, I will say, I do feel that certain similarities to Dybala. I think there's like, it does feel very, very similar to Dybala watching him.
The way he moves.
I get this feeling
I don't like doing comparisons.
I get this feeling when I watch Yildiz is like, how did Bayern let him get away? That's the part that blows me away the most when I watch Yildiz play. And honestly, in the end, I don't give a shit, and I'm happy about it. But it does make me think, like, how the hell did he
Maybe
get
he
away?
didn't like sauerkraut.
So,
But when it comes to it, I don't like doing the comparisons. Like he is the new X, or he is the new no. He
that's
is
why I
our
didn't say he's the second. I just said he reminds me.
right. But I'm just saying to the question, like, is he the new debut? No. I think a better question would be, or just maybe to add on to it, is he the best young talent that we've seen since, you know what I mean? Like, he is the best young talent we've had emerge, well, especially with next gen, in a long time. I think it's been a long time since we've seen a talent like his come out.
Yeah, I mean, some might argue that Fagioli is the one probably just ahead of Yildiz. Like,
Shout out Bet 365.
As far as Fagioli comes out, he's the biggest talent we've seen in a while. Now Yildiz comes out, Yildiz is the biggest talent we've seen since Fagioli. But do we go further and say that
Yildiz is much better than Fagioli? I think Yildiz has way more hype than Fagioli does.
I think
Pogba
for
was
sure
dealing
he
it
does.
at 18.
But I'm saying, you're trying to say, is he the biggest talent since when? I don't think we have to go that far back. I think he's the biggest talent probably since Fagioli launched. We're launching talent, and we're doing so quite quickly. It's kind of crazy. But, Yildiz has I can't even believe the hype around this guy. We're talking about 3 starts, but
that's a good show right there. He's had, in my eyes, he's had the same, I don't know what the right word is, but Pogba was the last one youth coming out saying, this is the guy. Right? Fagioli was like a good player, like a really good player. Hopefully he has a good career. But Pogba coming up was like, holy shit, this guy could be the guy. And Yildiz is the same for me. That's a good show.
Yeah, he doesn't feel like he's out of depth playing with the big boys at 18. Pogba was physically big. He didn't look like a kid playing with adults. And Keane seems like that with his confidence, the way he moves, the way he interacts. He's not acting like a youngster on the pitch.
No, him on the ball is just ridiculous. I
didn't realize how big he is.
Yeah,
a big boy.
And this is a crazy statement. Yildiz is better than Ronaldo and Messi was at 18.
Oh no.
I would argue you could say he's close to maybe Ronaldo. Messi, not a chance. But let's not go that crazy. And this is what I mean about the hype. Really, it's been 3 starts. He's got some contributions. He looks good. He's very promising.
Not Messi though.
Let's keep.
Remember Keane and then how he started. He was talked about a lot and had a goal when he was 17 in the last match, and then he had a brace against Udinese when he got the start, and then it kind of dipped down. So let's wait and see. He's super talented. I can't wait for him to break out. But it's been 3 starts. Let's not start comparing.
Yeah, and this is what I mean. Like with the young guys,
got a good point. He eats his
take it easy. Ronaldo got cooking in the years just after and whatnot. So you can maybe say close, but still, I would say no to that. But this is what I mean about the hype. The hype train gets going.
Definitely not Messi.
And you're crazy, but it happens. The hype is crazy. And I love it, though. It's at least we have guys we can be hyped up about. So that's a positive. Keenan Yildiz, though,
there you go.
High expectations. Untouchable is what the news is. When do you think we will see Hassa get called up and some minute? Oh,
he'll get sold.
I don't think he'll be sold, but I don't think we're seeing him. I think we're seeing him pretty quick, to be honest. Not anytime soon. Yeah, it's tough read with Hassa, to be honest, right now. I think they're trying. Aren't they trying to get an extension done with him?
I thought they already did.
Yeah, but to try and see him in, I don't know. Way too tough to bank on that one when it comes to the forward situations. And Yildiz launched and Sule coming back in the summer, and who knows what's going to happen there. It's way too tough to call on Hassa right now. Wouldn't know. Guys, like the video, we got one last one. We're gonna fire away.
I had one.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You put the
So
gun out
do
there,
you
man. Let's go.
not the gun, the finger? That's only the finger. And so, do you feel we're lacking depth to some degree? Because if we did have European games this season, then we'll be out of depth. I mean, we made all our substitutions last night, and I know 3 of them were like under 20. I feel there's a bit of a depth issue that needs to be fixed next
Oh,
season. Do
yeah.
you feel like, yeah, how will it be fixed? That's the question. If we keep putting guys from next gen, or do we need to strengthen with some purchases, just for rotational players even?
You got to sell. You got to start selling. We're sellers next summer. We are sellers before we are buyers.
You just talked about what, fixing the depth?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I
Yeah.
said. Like, for me, I have no problems with the young guys, and the young guys being some of that depth. Guys that are serious young
Yeah.
ballers. We do need, like, ready now quality, though. Like, I'm not against us. Right now, the only solid name for an experienced mid to come in is like a guy like Cruz, but we should be looking for top quality ready now guys. That's why I don't really like hearing shit like Felipe Anderson next year or whatnot. Like, it's like that really doesn't do anything for me or really push the needle for Juventus, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We heard like Zaccagni, and I'm like, Zielinski, I'm in a minority, I think would help Juventus. I really
He's going
do.
to Inter. I think it's done with Inter
Yeah.
for
But
Zelensky.
my point
But yeah, that's the
stands.
type. Yeah,
My
that's the
point
type of
stands.
guy we need.
A ready now quality player. I think we could use a couple to round out this side. And Jallo's a good low risk. I like them making that move. It could pay dividends, man, to be honest. So I'm fine with that, but we gotta see what's going on. After yesterday's performance, is Illing still on the market? I'm standing firm with what I've said. I think, to Ant's point too, if good offers come in, Juve's gonna hear them out and consider them. I think there's very few
Alvida Zane
players.
Sule.
I think
Alvida
there's
Zane,
very few players that are no-goes as far as business goes around Juventus. I think they'll hear out offers, everybody. I think they'll hear out offers.
Everybody.
Last one to have some fun. Omer and I were kind of talking about this yesterday, but we're going to bring it up here, and it is free kick, 88th minute. You have to pick your shooter. Historically, Juventus, it could be only players you've seen. Take them. We're thinking of guys like, obviously, Pirlo, Del Piero, Baggio, Dybala, Pjanic. Platini, I'd never seen play live, so I'm not going to consider him in there. But, who are you going to take? 88th minute, you got a free kick. Look at the lives already jumping on these ones. Del Piero, Roberto Baggio, Del Piero. Omar, who are you taking?
Wow, all of them. Don't really care who shoots. But yeah, probably Del Piero, just because I remember, those type of free kicks from him late in the game against Inter, and he's cool. Is what I love the most. But the difference between him and Pirlo is just, I don't know. It's so small that I'd take anyone. But gun to my head, yeah, I take Del Piero.
You take Del Piero, gun to your head. What is going on here? Ant really messed things up right at the end here. Anyways, Pirlo
I
or
clicked hang
Pjanic?
up instead of mute. Whoopsies.
Pirlo. On the current roster, Vlahovic. He scores 2 bangers last year. Hasn't taken many since. Pirlo. Del Piero. Baggio. Zidane. Okay. Ant, who are you taking?
If it's the MLS, I'm taking Javinko over anybody in the world. For Juventus, I would take.
In
I'm a big
MLS, the way they
budget
set
slappy.
up their walls and those keepers, I'll take myself.
I'm a big budget slappy, but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I'd take ADP on this one.
Yeah, God, it's tough for me not to go with Baggio or even Pirlo for that matter, but Del Piero was something else on these free. And what was crazy about Del Piero, and we talked about this yesterday also, Omer, was it didn't matter where it was. It didn't matter range, short, far, left, right. It didn't friggin' matter. This guy was ridiculous. So
over
it's
the
hard
wall,
for me
under
not
the
to
wall,
take Del Piero.
beside the wall, around it.
Yeah,
He hit all sorts.
Outside curler, inside curler. I mean, everything. And yeah, that was the highest level there is.
Yeah. Now, flash forward after going from Del Piero, Pirlo, Pjanic, Dybala, high rates on free kicks. Active squad.
Oh, I take Del Piero over anyone in the active squad right now.
No,
Well, he can't
active
play now.
squad. You have to pick from the active squad. It would have to be Vlahovic.
Yeah, he's the only one.
Who else is
for-
like Milik? I've seen score one.
yeah, Milik has one.
And he's decent on those from those other sides, but this really shows you it's like a luxury we've kind of lost. We've kind of lost.
Well, we haven't had many. Think about it. We haven't had many free kicks in dangerous positions because we don't really attack that sort of center of the field with our midfielders. So how many of those do we have a game? Maybe half chance to get, like, we don't have it every game.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time we had Milik in the center of the wall.
Nicolosi did it yesterday, and the only reason is because it was for a right foot kicker.
Yeah.
It was on the other side, definitely Vlahovic. But like if Pjanic in there, no one's getting close to it.
We've seen the little one touch over for Danilo and then him to rip. I thought we were going to see that yesterday on that one setup for the right-hand kicker, but Cavilli ended up taking it. I have no problem with him doing that. I got one last question, and it's kind of funny that Tal came in here with this comment because it was kind of my last one, and it was to keep Yildiz humble. The hype ruins players. Do you think this day and age it's because of social media and even from their own clubs putting all this stuff out about their own players and all these, and they kind of play into the hype trains and everything? Do you think it's that plays a bigger part in seeing players maybe not hit their potential nowadays because it's so easy to get overhyped nowadays?
Oh, 100%. 100% it has an effect. I think that's something that Barcelona kind of did when they had their, prime generation and just produced a team of world-class players. And like, there's nothing better than growing someone from your youth and seeing him become a world-class player, winning Ballon d'Ors, whatever, winning Champions League, and retiring at the club. That's the best feeling ever, and we didn't have many of that.
Yeah.
I mean, Steven Gerrard, all those guys, and that's phenomenal. So everyone wants to have one. Everyone wants to grow up the next Messi, the next biggest star in the world, and it's so rare that it happens that it's kind of ludicrous to expect it from every youngster who shows a bit of talent.
Yeah. Social media, player value, money does it, according to David Bruno. But Anthony, you kind of think?
When we were growing up, we had players that as soon as the hype started, they were getting the drinking, the smoking, the drugs. Now it's just this drinking, the smoking, the drugs is just on here, right? It's the same sort of like, you get the same, get into your head, it ruins good
Dopamine
players.
provider, yeah.
Whether it's back in the day, it was just something else. Something kind of went up the nose, or you drank something or ate something, whatever. Now it's the social media, but now you can make a lot of money off it. And if a guy is using that to make money, I'll never fault a guy for going to get his bag, because really the majority of players have a very limited window to make money. So if a guy's making money and he wants to, but he gets blown out with, overhyped with the social media, whatever, we'll find somebody else to replace him.
Yeah. So Ayub says, contrary to Tal, who says we need to keep Yildiz humble, hype ruins players, Ayub says hype them up. If they fall into it, then it's their own fault. They're professionals.
Correct.
They should know better.
They've been professionals since they were 12 years old. Footballers.
Yeah, they're definitely groomed for it a lot differently over there than
And
comparing to North America, right? So it's night and
Well,
day.
hockey over here, I guess, if you want to.
I guess
yeah,
hockey would
compare
be
it.
similar over here in
yeah, but
terms
I
of how
place
they're
less
groomed.
blame on the player. On the players in general, I don't think they're to blame. I've never been an 18-year-old and someone offered me millions to sign a contract. I mean, I get
No?
why they
Oh,
think
you're
they're
missing out.
no. Well, they
Guys,
did,
I'll be
but
100% fucking honest here, okay? If I'm back in my 18, 19-year-old days and I'm getting cash like that and I'm hyped up all over, it's like, Alberto could have been a bit of a prick, and you give me the world in front
Massive
of me.
problems.
It'd be really, really tough. I'd like to say I'd just stay humble and all this and whatnot, but it's hard not to, like, that's a life I couldn't even imagine, right? It's hard. It's hard. Look at Matt. He's saying I would have been a total bastard. Like,
yeah, most of us probably, yeah.
we could all say, "Oh yeah, no, I
Yep.
would have been humble.
Oh,
I would have
no,
been
I'll be
fine. I would
fine.
keep it
No.
clean.
I'll be the
I would
same
not.
person.
I would not give in to any temptations
No.
that are out
I
there.
would be me.
I'm just
I'm just going to
saying,
hit the ballet real quick. But yeah,
none of us have
yeah.
any idea about that kind of hype and that. Like it's wild. It's crazy. But Keenan Yildiz, yeah, it's exciting. It's very, very exciting. Let's see what happens. I still stand behind what we're going into Frosinone, Coppa Italia. That's our next match, everybody. We'll bring you the match day live. It's obviously on Thursday, so no watch along, unfortunately. The watch along yesterday was great, by the way. Thank you, everybody. Tons of comments on the clip of the Vlahovic goal there. But we're going to do the match preview on Tuesday. Same thing, match preview, post-match podcast the day after both those games. No watch-alongs, which suck. Apologies. But I stand firm on Chiesa. I would not play him against Frosinone, and I would save him to Sassuolo. Final question for you guys. Do you agree or disagree? Would you launch him in the Frosinone Coppa Italia round? I'd keep going with Yildiz and let Chiesa that extra time for Sassuolo. Agree, disagree?
Yeah,
100% agree.
yeah, I would keep him on the bench though.
Well, yeah, he could stay on the bench or whatever, but I'm not starting him in that
No,
game against Frosinone, and I
I wouldn't
try
even
to
dress
go
him.
without even maybe
If
he
there's
can
even
get
minimum
15.
risk, yeah, if there's minimum risk for injury and he doesn't feel 100%, I'm not playing him in that match.
Yeah,
Wouldn't even dress him because then you have the potential to be like, maybe I'll just put him out there for 20 minutes. Wouldn't even let him on the bus.
Oh, there you go. There you go. We'll see what Mad Max decides, all right? But Frosinone Coppa Italia next up for Juventus. We are at 46 points halfway through the season, okay? On pace for 92. We all know when Juventus hits this amount of points, the last, 8, this is the 9th time we've done it. 8 times previously were Scudetti. Oh, are we set
Gotta
up for
avoid
it?
but gotta avoid the winter depression that we usually have sometime in the winter. And yeah, hope Inter has one because it feels like the pressure is starting to get to them and they look more tired and they still have Champions League games ahead of them. Yeah, we should take advantage of their situation.
Yeah, we got to keep the pressure rolling, but this is where I expected this Juventus to be. Roster, Max, Cortomuso, all this kept in mind. We're where we need to be, and he's matching the expectations. All the talks about Max, all these discussions, I said, we're going to wait, let the chips fall where they will, and at the end of the season, we'll address everything, okay, and see where we stand. But right now, he's doing what I expect. And I agree 100% with Matt. We've said it all the time. Inter is rattled. Their players are making it quite obvious for all of us. We got to keep the pressure going, all right, and see what we can do. But maybe something special is in store for Juventus this season. I believe. Okay, and I'm going to believe until the fucking final match if that's what it takes. All right. I expected the race to be a little bit tighter with another team kind of involved. I didn't think it was just going to be a 2-horse race, but it looks like it's playing out to be a 2-horse race. Frosinone on deck, Coppa Italia, and then Sassuolo. You guys are awesome as always. Like the videos, please. Share the content. Feel free to clip anything. Fino alla fine. Forza Juventus. We'll see you on Thursday. Omer Nanth, always a pleasure. Enjoy your weeks, fellas. Take care.
Yeah.